Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, upvote the video, comment. And Cara McCutcheon is joining us today, and we are interrupting our normal Chris Beard talk to talk a little football. And Cara's going to be here to talk a little football. And we're going to start with Lane Kiffin, right? And he appears to be a little bit more locked in this season than he normally is.
He really does. I don't know if you've noticed, but he seems like he's been in Oxford more than I've ever seen this man in Oxford. He doesn't look like he has traveled very much. He's seen his few fishing trips here or there, but I don't know if he's really been in Florida that much. It feels like he's been in Oxford making a lot of moves, doing a lot of things, really just working a lot of the program. They had this yoga thing the other week. What was that? This last week? Yeah. I got to remember what day we're on. But yeah, they had this yoga thing, and he just seems very dialed in. I actually looked at his Twitter the other day, and all his tweets are Ole Miss related. There's nothing he's tweeted about that's not Ole Miss related.
Well, that's honestly, after what Ole Miss went through at the end of last season, it makes sense. Because even he knows that he has some work to do with the fan base, and him appearing locked in and completely bought into the community, that's an absolutely important thing for Lane moving forward, I think.
Right. I don't know. He seems so almost like he has that chip on his shoulder that we wanted him to have, right? He just seems like he's doing it. I don't even know what he's up to. I feel sometimes I look at him, I feel like Lane hasn't even been on Twitter in 3 days, and I don't feel like this is the Lane we know. And he just seems so into Ole Miss, which is so strange considering all the stuff we went through with Auburn. But he really just seems very dialed in. And a part of me feels like we kind of brought that out of him a little bit during that Auburn situation. I feel like we kind of showed him what we wanted, and we almost were just go so we can get that. And now he's wait a minute, hey, before you bring in the new girlfriend, So it's a new Lane. It's interesting.
Yeah, he's don't throw dirt on the grave just yet. Give me a chance to turn around. Now, one thing people need to know about Lane Kiffin is he is hyper competitive. He's an uber competitive guy, and he's going to do whatever he takes to win. Everybody asks him what his recruiting strategy is or whatever this strategy is. His strategy is simple. He wants to win games. So whatever it takes to win games, that's what he wants to do. He's not forward thinking, trying to think of a program 4 years down the road. He's trying to beat Mercer. He's trying to beat Alabama. He's trying to win on the road in Athens. And that is 100% of his mind, not 2024, anything like that. He's digging into this. And I think him being locked in, him realizing that, honestly, after the Auburn situation, he's probably not getting out of here for 2 or 3 years. So he needs to win at a really high level if he wants to move to another location. He's making a ton of money. His kids are happy here. There's a lot of positives that can be said for Lane Kiffin moving forward. We just have to see what he does during the Rebel road trip and that stuff. He's still some shaking hands and kissing babies that he has to do. But so far, he is not misstepping at all.
I really have loved every move he's made. He has really come in and said he was going to make these big changes, and he has. He's brought in all new coaches. He's brought in Pete Golding. That was huge. And as I still tell myself, and maybe I lie, I still tell myself we stole him from Alabama, and that's what I'm going to continue to tell myself. I don't care what anyone else says. I think he really chose us over Bama, and that's just what I'm going to tell myself. So I'm interested to see what Pete does with Franklin. I wonder if he can keep him here with Perkins. Man, I'm excited for that. I really hope we can bring Franklin in, keep him here in the SIP, and I'm interested to see what Pete does. But I love these moves that are made this offseason.
Yeah, we did a video a couple days back. I'm really impressed with Fred Clark, and I genuinely think that Jordan Lockhart that was told is hey, you're on the West Coast, you can stay on the West Coast. We're going to take the Mississippi kid because Pete Golding has ties all in this state. And Fred Clark, I think this kid could be a really good. He's an old-fashioned middle linebacker, thumper. Could be really good, really a boon for that defense, honestly.
I agree. I think that Lockhart move, if you've seen with some of the players that we've kind of had for a while, you almost see I think that, like, I hate to say it, but almost getting pushed out. Like they're just changing up so many things from what we've seen over the last couple of years, and I just like watching it. I love seeing what is going to happen next. Like I don't even know. It looks like some of the guys that we thought originally were going to leave are still kind of hanging around. So see what happens there. But definitely interested to see what Lane is cooking up.
Yeah, and a relatively similar story like Realtree and Mincy, and you start to see all these NIL things built up where you can have like these experiences apparently. And it seems like a really cool thing in order to stay on the cutting edge of NIL and things like that. But I'm kind of interested to see where these things will go.
So I kind of want to get my take on this. So being as someone who's probably on Twitter way too much, and in these spaces, I will tell you how many times we talk to recruits. I can't tell you how many times I have high school recruits adding me from like 2025, 2026. And I have to be like, please don't add me on Twitter. Like, you're way too young to be adding me, and I am not in this world. So like I have these recruits and they're in and out of spaces and they're asking questions and they're telling us about their camps and they're telling us about the things they're doing and their goals. And like these recruits, they're dialed in to social media. They want you to follow them on Instagram. They want you to be interactive. And I think one of the things with Ole Miss is we kind of lag there when you look at like an Auburn. We kind of lag there when you look at Alabama. We even lag there with maybe an A&M. And so I think Ben Mincy is really trying to promote and enhance our social media interactions through Ole Miss. And I think he's trying to get almost that younger crowd involved and kind of, you know, he's been going to the student sections and be there and getting the student sections riled up. And I actually don't even know if he's done this as a job or if he's just helping the school out. I actually have no idea if they kind of hired him on in some way as a Barstool guy. I really don't know, but I more and more he just seems to be evolved. Like he's talking to the Realtree guy at one point about having his own like camo line. Like, so I'm interested to see Mincy's role in this. I'm interested to see about this Realtree camping, or I guess it's not really camping, hunting experience with Jags and Dart and Eli Acker that we're gonna do. So
yeah, I like the idea of having experiences because there are people in the Ole Miss fan base that will drop $4 on that trip. Won't think twice about it. For the opportunity to do that, they will drop $4 on that trip. And Realtree could probably make a little bit of money on it. The NIL can make a little bit of money on it. But in this world, it would work. And you could call it a brand representation or something like that with Realtree, and I like that. It's cutting edge. It's very Lane Kiffin type NIL, even though he might not have been the person that set it up, but he has made it to where other people think like him a little bit. And I think that will help Ole Miss recruiting immensely, especially in this state.
Well, even look at, you know, the NASCAR driver, and I'm sorry, I'm not a big NASCAR person, so I'm not going to know his name, and I apologize, people. I'm just not.
Ricky Stenhouse.
But I think it was another. I know Stenhouse, but I thought it was another one.
He's the one that Daytona.
So I thought there was another one who reached out to Tyler Jordan for Realtree, and once like the Ole Miss like almost marble like headgear for his.
Oh, okay.
For his car or when he's driving. I'm sorry. I do not know NASCAR guys. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bust out some NASCAR stuff for you. So it's not going to sound good, but he even reached out and he wanted the blue marble camel that we had for our helmets. And even the helmets won like some best design. And so Tyler Jordan is really pushing Ole Miss and he's getting us out there. And all these things really do well. Like all these, you know, put us on the map, have more people engaged, have more kids look our way. I can imagine sometimes when you're looking at Austin, Texas, or you're looking at, you know, Florida, like, and then there's Mississippi. So I think these things they're doing to kind of engage everybody in the SIP has been really great. And I just love to watch the continuation of what they're doing.
Yeah. And that Realtree helmet that they wore against Kentucky last year, that absolutely needs to come back out. I don't know why it didn't. It's just absolutely fantastic. And I think the powder blue helmet should be our primary. Secondary should be that Realtree helmet, and the third one should be a Navy helmet, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we have to keep the LSU uniforms that we wear. Can't change them.
We haven't worn the correct uniform for LSU since 2015, 2013. I know, but
it has to come back. You have to bring it back. Like, it's just, It doesn't work. We have to bring it back.
Yeah, that should be a Navy helmet. That should always be a Navy helmet, red jerseys, gray pants, because it just goes against that LSU uniform so well. And I will die on that hill.
No, I'm with you. I will die right next to you because I agree. We need to bring it back.
Anyway, we had yoga in the Vaught, by the way, and part of yoga in the Vaught, all the quarterbacks got to go in there and do their stretching or poses or whatever they were doing in yoga on that day. But, Jackson Dart, he looks really comfortable in Oxford right now. I think this spring is a maximum important spring for Jackson Dart moving forward.
I think this narrative of pushing Spencer Sanders as a starter that the media's been trying to push is such a fraud, like just clickbait, because Jackson Dart gave no signs of being miserable. He gave no signs of not liking being there. He gave no signs of him and Lane having any kind of struggle. And I understand you're in front of people, but he's not an actor. Like, he's an athlete. So they can't always hide their faces. It also didn't look like it was mandatory. So he was there. He looked like he was having a great time with all the other quarterbacks in the room. Some of the other guys, like, they were joking around. They were doing the different poses. Like, this guy does not look like this. Oh, I'm ready to hit the transfer portal. We're not getting along. We're not making this work. I don't want to compete. Like, all those narratives just sound ridiculous at this point. I think this kid definitely wants to compete. I think he definitely looks comfortable in Oxford, and he definitely doesn't appear like he's ready to jet.
Yeah, if you listen to my show on Friday, it was top 5 Friday list, and it's 5 players that have the most opportunity to gain when spring starts, and Jackson Dart was number 2 on there. And if he just fixes a couple of things, all of a sudden he could have such an insurmountable gap in the quarterback competition. It's not even crazy. But he needs to get over his linebacker blindness. That makes me a little bit nervous. He needs to quit holding the ball so long, and he needs to get it out of his hands, and he needs to not turn the ball over. And if he does that, he will be the starting quarterback for Mercer. He's got all the talent in the world. Anybody that says anything other than that, they have an agenda and they're lying to you.
I agree. I like Spencer Sanders. I love the Walker Howard ad. But I really think that Jackson Dart is probably going to end up, that's just my opinion, but I think Jackson Dart will end up being our starter. I think he'll kind of be working on those days, fixing those things. I'm a Jackson Dart stan. Fine, I'll say it. But I'm really excited. I think he looks fine. I love having the stacked quarterback room. I think that's wonderful. I feel like a lot of colleges have that, and we're just like finally new to like the talent that's going to be right there. So I don't know. I'm very excited for that part. I'm very excited to see the spring game. As we got a couple of weeks for that. Couple weeks.
It's like April 20th, something like that. So it's a little over a month away.
A little month, yeah.
So, in my opinion on this one, I think the competition is going to be between Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders, obviously. The winner of that quarterback competition is going to be the starter, but the loser of that quarterback competition is going to be third team, because I think Walker Howard's locked in to be the backup because they want to get him reps for next year. So that's my opinion. I'm pretty much, the more this goes on, I'm more than willing to die on that hill as well. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. And at the moment, Ole Miss is probably relevant on there. Plus, you get to hear from big-name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. It's Locked On College Basketball. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much, Cara, for joining us. To have a good Sunday. We just full disclosure to everybody, we recorded this on Friday, so baseball and everything else can happen a couple of days early, but that's the reason this is probably might be a little bit late if something happens. But Cara, thank you very much for stopping by, and I look forward to next week.
Thanks, Ian. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.